everyone supports the underlying legislation that we're all concerned about the health of each and every one of us in our community. The health and well-being of every resident is certainly always a concern, whether it's young or old, or from in every way possible. And I don't think anybody would want to argue with that or should argue with that. But I think what we differ on is how we get there, and how much and how fast, and everything associated with it. There's not been a formal cost associated with this legislation, and I know that there's been suggestion that this might be more expensive in the beginning and less expensive later, and there's a lot of speculation involved in it. But candidly, in some people's cases, they can't wait for that to happen. We met with recently I met with a group of citizens who are on fixed income, who own their own homes, and they were told, whether this is correct or not, that it would cost them $430 more per unit per year for them to do that. And that was a great burden for them. $430 was a tremendous burden for the people that were in that room that day. And I have great sympathy and empathy for that. We're also, and it's been talked about a couple times, but whether or not the Attorney General's opinion is the opinion, the one on the letterhead, is the opinion of the Attorney General. And I know that Councilmember Hucker and I are not on the same side on this one issue, but what we are on the same side of is that we do have the best Attorney General in all of Maryland, and I appreciate that. And I also have to tell you, we have many fine attorneys, one of whom is sitting at the table today, who disagreed with the Attorney General, the one on the letterhead's opinion. And we have other fine attorneys who work in Montgomery County as well. So there's going to be a difference. But I think the bottom line on that issue is it's going to be in court, and we're going to find out for sure what is and what isn't. I still believe that we should do everything under our immediate jurisdiction, whether for the county property, et cetera, to see how this works, to see if this really is something that is going to be what we want it to be, and how much it costs the citizens of Montgomery County to pay for it. We would have at that point truly a mechanism to know for sure. We talk about educating the public, and of course that's always necessary, and we need to educate ourselves. We don't know at this point. We pretend perhaps that we have more of a knowledge than we do, but we don't know. And I think we have to continue to figure out what we can learn and what we at that point can know. I want to say that I'm concerned about the enforcement of this. I believe in some cases that this is going to pit neighbor against neighbor. Someone is going to say, my neighbor is doing whatever, and that's going to force Montgomery County to come out, and there is some question whether or not they're going to be allowed on the private property, or how that would work, whether they'd have to get some sort of a warrant or whatever that would mean, and there's always a question for that. But I don't think that that's always the healthiest thing for anybody, to have a neighbor against neighbor situation. I applaud all my colleagues on this. We're obviously divided, and truth be told, probably we should be divided on this issue. There's people that have great points on both sides, but I know that all of us have continued to work together, not only on this issue, but we will continue to work together on many, many other issues, regardless of where we are on this individual vote today. Bottom line, and there's been a lot said today, and I know people just want to figure out what the vote is, but bottom line is that I think that we all want the best for Montgomery County. There's no one in this room that doesn't want the best for Montgomery County. But I have to tell you, in my opinion, the substitute bill, 5214, is not the bill that I could vote for, so I will not be voting for that bill. Thank you very much.
The clerk will please call the roll on Bill 5214.
Mr. Elrich?
Absolutely, yes.
Mr. Elrich votes yes. Mr. Hucker?
Yes.
Mr. Hucker votes yes. Mr. Berliner?
No.
Mr. Berliner votes no. Mr. Rice?
No.
Mr. Rice votes no. Mr. Reamer?
Yes.
Mr. Reamer votes yes. Ms. Navarro?
Yes.
Ms. Navarro votes yes. Mr. Katz?
No.
Mr. Katz votes no. Ms. Florine?
Yes.
Ms. Florine votes yes. Mr. Leventhal?
Mr. Leventhal votes yes. Bill 5214 is adopted on a 6-3 vote.